welcome to this very exciting session of our TBM Tuesday. My name is Lindsay Gates. I am the head of Community Experience and Operations for the TBM Council. Today, we've got a great topic where we're discussing how you can take your TBM practice into an EBM practice with the Cleveland Clinic. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Scott, who's going to start as an introduction for the team, and the full Cleveland Clinic's going to introduce themselves.
Great, thanks. My name's Scott Erben. I serve as the director at the Cleveland Clinic of our program here, where we oversee TBM, EBM, and our FinOps practices. So that's technology business management and enterprise business management as well. I've been at the clinic for over 10 years. I've been in IT for a couple of years, about 6 years in financial planning, and then most recently, over the last couple of years with financial decision support and analysis. Our team currently supports financial shared services that includes IT, facilities, revenue cycle, and several operational areas. So our team, you see them on the line here today, consists of 5 people, and I'll let each of them introduce themselves as well. I'll go first.
Everyone, my name is Domenic Teolis. I've been at the clinic for a little bit over 4 years at this point, all under Scott. I've been doing Apptio the whole time, and as well as I dabbled in financial close for about a year and a half as well.
Hello everyone, my name is Mona Shabab. I'm part of the Apptio team at the clinic for the past a little bit over 2 years, and my area of focus is actually in IT, so I am mostly working on TBM. I also work with the rest of the team to getting the data connections and all the data link and the technical stuff.
Hi everyone, my name is Trevor Jones, also part of the Apptio team. I've been with the clinic for about a year and a half now. My primary focus is with the facilities areas, so I do a lot of our EBM reporting that we're going to talk about today.
Hi everyone, my name is Olivia Nation. I am also a TBM analyst at the clinic. I've been with the clinic for about a year now. The majority of my role within our team is focused on leveraging our TBM EBM tool to support operational improvement for revenue cycle management.
All right, Scott, did we get everybody on the team?
You did.
Perfect. So do you want to give us a little bit of an overview of sort of how that you took this journey, what made you all go from the TBM to the EBM practice, and sort of what is EBM?
Sure. So most of you are already familiar with technology business management, TBM. That's the discipline for aligning and managing your tech investments across your organization. EBM, or enterprise business management, takes that same concept but a step further. It aligns all your non-tech and tech costs. Essentially, it provides a combinational view of shared services spend throughout different models for each of those different departments. So, for example, facilities focuses on properties, utilities, environmental services, work orders, asset management. Revenue cycle is heavily labor-driven. So much of our work will center around resource-based reporting. And then in operations, we're still working on pushing out to the rest of operations, but that could include marketing, productive services, supply chain, and other areas as well, with each having their own unique needs and use cases. But the one question we do get quite often is, how did you start EBM? And we actually had the idea about 5 years ago to start this, but at the time, our leadership wanted to keep the tool focused solely on IT spend. But fast forward to a couple of years ago, and there was a meeting with that same leader and facilities leadership, and my leader noticed that their 2024 goals were to include improving analytics, costing, data quality, normalization, tool integration, and others. And then he must have had an aha moment at that time. And, he said, we already have a team that's doing that same stuff for IT. So from there, we engaged in facilities leaders to understand what their needs were and how our team could support them, because it was different than IT. But at the same time, when you look at the base requirements of what we're doing for TBM, it's transferable to other departments. So we also had to meet with our tool vendor to understand what was feasible, what was cost, how was this going to work for us. And so once all those things started coming together, we built a proof of value for facilities based on the use cases and requirements that they gave us. And then it was about 5 or 6 weeks later that we presented to their leadership team. They liked what they saw, and the rest is history from there. So as we moved on to the proof of value towards production, we created a roadmap to follow to go live. And during that process is when we started to engage revenue cycle. And we really wanted to try to just rinse, repeat that process that we had with facilities. So their leaders quickly became engaged. We helped consolidate spreadsheets. We automated reports. We closed several gaps as well. I think the efficiencies was over, just last year alone, was over 3,000 hours of just efficiency of consolidating to automated reports. So we're starting to engage, different areas of operations, but I'll let the team get into more specifics and let them walk through some of the solutions that, they delivered across their different departments that they lead, and then maybe some things into the future of where we're possibly heading with EBM at Cleveland Clinic. So,
Scott, just to clarify, on the facility space that's where you first ventured into, was there any particular reason that you started with facilities? Was it because of the ask, or was it because of the ease to that particular sort of data set?
well, it was because of the goals that they had, and that they aligned so close to what our team was already doing for IT, that they were looking to find out how to get support to achieve those goals. And so that's when our leadership said, well, we have a team that's already supporting those same types of goals for IT. Let's see if they can do the same thing for your needs. All it is just different data. We're just trying to understand the data and create these reports. And so that's what led to initial discovery conversations and then a proof of value to visually show them, because sometimes leaders or anybody needs that visual to say or see what's possible. And so that's what we provide in that proof of value to say, yes, this can be done. We can combine this data in this way to show these metrics and what your goals are. And they liked what they saw.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Next, I think we're going to go over to Trevor to give us a little bit of details on some use cases and information.
Yeah, so like I said in my introduction, I primarily work with the facilities team for their reporting. One of the big use cases we worked on with them pretty much near the start, and still today, honestly, is our utilities reporting, which allows us to give them insights into their consumption and spend, mainly for electric, gas, and water. They can do those consumption and spend on a month-over-month or year-over-year basis, so they can understand the trends and see where the different utilities are going throughout the year in order to plan better for future years. Along with that, we've managed to leverage an editable table within Apptio and create 21 report cards for each of our different campuses, so that the utilities users can get in there and provide explanations for what's going on with the different utilities and forecasts for what they might want to see in future months. Alongside that, a big goal of ours with the facilities team has been creating efficiencies across the department. One of our big ones for that would be our business review report. Each month, the market leaders for each department of buildings and design get on a call together and explain their different variances throughout the month and explain what they expect to see for the rest of the year as well. In past years, this was done by creating PowerPoint slides in a very slow and arduous process that led to not much getting done on the call. Now we've created a consolidated and streamlined report within Apptio that shows the information with just a couple clicks, making those calls go a lot smoother and a lot more getting covered throughout that. And it's efficiencies like that and our other reports we've built for buildings and design that have led to over 2,000 hours of efficiencies total for the facilities department. So as we're moving forward, we're aiming to combine more financial and utilities information. We are now looking into patient encounters at each of the different buildings so that we can see how much foot traffic is going into each building each month and understand what the utilities were doing that month so that hopefully our utilities users can then budget better in the future years based on what happened with foot traffic versus how much was consumed with electric or gas, for example.
And I'm assuming, Trevor, just based on the return to work and after we had COVID, this was a massive help because not everybody's returned to the office to be able to see who's utilizing that, who's not using it, so that you could shut the power on and off.
Yeah, it's provided a lot of insight for them to understand how to budget and make sure that they're prepared for the different levels of consumption throughout the year.
Thank you. All right, next we're going to go, and also too, for any of those, I know some people joined a little bit late, but for any questions that we have, please feel free to put in the chat. We'll be answering those, and there's time at the end for questions as well. So next, I believe, Muno, we're going to go to you.
As I mentioned earlier, my area of focus is on IT, so this is where it all started. In the area of IT, recently we have gone through a reorg at the clinic, and then we have been supporting the finance team, working closely with the finance team to map the costs in IT to the new cost centers, being able to run through this process as smoothly as possible with using like the planning tools and the reporting tools for financials. We have also like gone through like a cost model rebuild for our IT project, and we are like using the most recent Atom taxonomy to align the cost of the different resource towers, being able to track that cost to the different business units, applications, the ability to track total cost of ownership, and to be able to like have a better understanding of IT spend. We have also dispersed like IT spend in the clinic. We have the central unit for IT, which is like called the digital IT. We also have like business unit IT, which is like IT spend throughout them. Various division in the enterprise, and that spend is like actually we have helped track that spend by identifying those cost centers and collecting the data from the different systems, like we have the ARP, the HR system, and the budgeting tools to present, like to create like a complete picture of the financial like spend of IT, and that can be used as a visual like a tool for like IT leadership for managing that spend and to make for this decision in their future. We are currently working to automate some business processes in IT, like chargebacks, and we've also working with application rationalization team, create a custom application rationalization dashboard that they can track the spend like and the spend saving or the savings over the years for app rationalization in IT.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Una. Next, we're going to go to Olivia on the team.
As I stated previously, I work closely with revenue cycle management. So revenue cycle is very labor intensive, with outsourced labor in particular serving as a key contributor to sustaining their operational performance. Historically, our ability to track external FTEs relied mainly on a very manual Excel-based process, but through leveraging our EBM platform, we've been able to automate comparisons between internal and external FTE tracking by directly aligning our vendor data with payroll. This has really provided us with a lot of clearer visibility into the average salary per FTE by vendor or role, as well as the overall outsourcing distribution, and just really has provided real-time insight into where our labor dollars are being spent. Additionally, we've also been working on transforming and are nearing the end of the process of evolving cost to collect into a proactive management metric for revenue cycle leadership. For those that might be unfamiliar, cost to collect is exactly how it sounds. It's essentially the total expense required to secure payment for services rendered. Previously, this metric was something that was calculated annually, required significant manual effort, and took anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks to produce results, depending on the level of detail that was needed. However, through our EBM framework, we are in the process of automating the cash collection process against expenses, creating a more consistent and repeatable view of cost. As a result, we're now working towards shifting this annual exercise into more of a monthly cadence to give our leaders more timely visibility into performance. And then just lastly, kind of where we're headed next with revenue cycle, building on cost to collect, we are now looking further upstream into the individual components that drive cost to collect. First, starting with cost per authorization and initial and incoming denials. These are just two of our core cost to collect widgets that we're planning to tackle next. So by breaking these components out, we'll be able to directly analyze productivity at a more granular level, ultimately enabling a more precise understanding of the cost drivers that do impact the overall cost to collect.
Super exciting. And how is the monthly process going? Has that been quite cumbersome, or is it since annual to monthly is quite a challenge?
Yeah, it's definitely been complicated, but we are very close to having the process automated. We're just working on a few finishing touches.
Okay. Thanks, Olivia. All right. And last but not least, Domenic, if you want to go ahead and give us some details, some more on EBM, that'd be great.
So I'm going to talk about a little bit about how we get these areas integrated and where we're going next. So all of these areas that we start out with, we give them what we call base package. It's to get them familiar with our EBM tool, show them the ease of use of it. And those use cases include financials, labor, cell phones, travel, workstations, just so they can play around and understand the system and kind of really explore what is possible within the EBM platform. And that's how a lot of these areas have sparked like different ideas of what we can and can't do. But the next areas that we're actually looking to tackle is our supply chain umbrella. So our supply chain umbrella does encompass laundry, food services, materials management, and sterile processing. So we have an engagement with them here in the near future. So we'll definitely have a few use cases to tackle in those areas, as well as integration with our London hospital. Cleveland Clinic does have 2 facilities in London, and we are in the process of migrating over some dashboarding for IT and operations. And last but not least, our next big project, this is going to be in buildings and design, is rolling out planning at the individual line item detail for all of the markets. We did a little bit of a pilot with just the shared service areas. And now we are looking to do it for all of the markets, the East, the West, the South, as well as Florida and Maine campus.
So as you all are expanding, has it, from an EBM perspective, is it more that the end users are coming to you, or is it that you're seeking the end users as far as finding those new supply chain, new spaces that you're going to? How are you basically growing, and do you have a roadmap that plans which sort of space comes next, or how you get basically the full business into this model?
It's been a combination. It's been a combination of both. We did a showcase, believe in 2024, to all of the administrators and the VPs under our COO. So protective services, supply chain, facilities, marketing, clinical engineering, they all fall under our COO. And that led to a discussion with our COO, and we got the buy-in from there. So we've kind of just been tackling one area one by one, and then moving on to the next based on the needs that that area has. And revenue cycle came as we were doing a presentation on the facilities, and the finance manager and director over that area saw it, and we decided to move the engagement up a significant time before, or than what we were anticipating.
Correct. And have you found that as you expand to these new areas, that the change management process has been easier or harder to bring on these new stakeholders?
Some were easy, some were hard, I guess. We're still working, trying to get some engaged, but for the most part, I think once you showed them what was possible, and because a lot of the enterprise tools are rigid, it doesn't have the capability to be flexible like the TBM tools. And we sit in between a lot of these rigid tools that can't do the deeper analytics that we want to get to for some of these specific use cases. And so I think in general, the engagement has been, I have to say, excellent with the leaders. And we also help ourselves with that engagement. So, Dom, did you mention the intake form?
No, I did not.
Okay. Okay. I'll let you go over a few more things, but we help ourselves try to stay engaged with our customer base and who we support to try and bring in many more ideas, not just going out and searching for them, but also as we get new data, we're constantly receiving new data from these different departments. We're finding new ways to say, hey, we can combine this to solve for this. Let's show them that and bring them a report with at least the basics and expand and iterate from there. And that seems to work fairly well for us, is to get some sort of baseline and then work with those leaders to say, here's what we can do, here's what's possible, get them excited, and then, we start to create a report in production for them to use on a monthly and somewhat daily basis now in some of our reports.
Mhm. And then Dom, do you want to elaborate on the intake form that Scott was talking about?
We now have an intake form for all of our use cases where it's actually in the front of our EBM tool, where end users can click in and just submit an idea that they want to have. And in operations in particular, we have a committee that it goes to kind of review and decide where we want to put it on the roadmap. So it just gives end users like a quick, they see something that they can quickly think that we can help with. It's easy for them to submit that.
Perfect.
And we also do have a roadmap. You mentioned that earlier. We do have a roadmap that we update regularly. We do have many different areas, so we have different roadmap with all the different departments, and we do have to stay fairly organized. There's a lot of different teams, a lot of individuals that we interact with, and lots of ideas out there that some are quick and some take weeks, some take months, and you just have to prioritize based on our stakeholders and their engagement.
Okay. And then two, if anyone has questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. This is me asking questions right now, but one of the things, oh gosh, I lost it. The thing just popped up. I'm so sorry. What would you advise to anyone who's thinking about going into the EBM journey? What are some things that you wish that you would have known as you were kind of going into this journey that you know now that would be good for others to know?
I'll let you take it first.
Technology first?
I wish I would have understood some of the other tools and processes that supported them before we went there, rather than kind of learning it on the fly.
Anyone else from the team?
Anyone else? For myself, I would say we were one of the initial adopters of EBM. And so understanding how to create different environments for the different areas, how we were going to build this out. And it would have been great if there was a plan already for us, but we were helping initiate a lot of this. So we had to think through it at the same time as our vendors and as our internal stakeholders, as we're building things out. So it would have been nice to have that, but we're past that now. Now we're coasting, right?
Yeah, had to write it all yourself. Yeah, that's definitely. And as far as that journey, how can people entering into this is there a space for them to look to find more information on EBM, how to do EBM, what that looks like, or is that basically you got to know a guy?
There's different avenues. I would say if you have an account representative with your tool supplier, speak with them. TBM council, reach out. Um, Also your peers, people that are doing it like us, maybe pick their brain and say, how do we do this? Um, Different avenues to take down what your thought.
I believe there's been a couple of sessions at the conference this year, and then we did one last year that might help somebody guide through that process. But I believe it's going to be different between every organization. A hospital is going to be different than a bank or a manufacturing company. So it all just depends on where the pain points of the organization are.
And then we've got a question from Patrick. So question around the cost to collect use case. Are you considering other metrics beyond cost to drill into reasons why explains why the cost to collect is so high?
Eventually, we are going to be tackling the widgets, like Olivia said. Like, we're going to be looking into amount of denials, authorizations, customer service as well, to see if there is like seasonality, or are we spending so much time looking at denials in this category with this insurer. So we are going to be doing a deeper dive. We have kind of the framework for it right now. We're working to do the overall cost to collect numbers, and then we're going to dive into a lot more of those specifics.
Let's see. And then let's see. Are you using any AI capabilities to analyze tech data sources to identify and sometimes repair good, bad, ugly data?
Not at this point,
No?
just our eyes.
We kind of just tell people, like,
Yeah.
this is how good the data is.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions?
We have created discrepancy reports in the past that show blanks within the data. So in your in your tool, you might have data advisor, like in Apptio we used. It'll tell you what your primary fields are that you need to create that use case. And so in the past, we have created discrepancy report to show the gap. So what's the percentage of completeness of the data for a specific use case? So that would help us. Okay, we're more likely to get this use case completed over this use case. And it also lets your stakeholders know where they need to clean up their data. So if you want me to produce a report for you, this is the data that's required. You have to clean this up, or else you're only going to be 80% accurate, 70% accurate. So the percentage of accuracy will go up the cleaner your data is.
Perfect. Let's see. Well, it looks like we're at time. Are there any more questions before I end this session here? Just a reminder, again, please become a member. We've got great information, great data. I want to give a huge shout out to the Cleveland Clinic team for coming, joining, answering your questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time, and we look forward to having another TBM session.
Thank you.